Fat guy, you look like a human mosaic of the average Walmart customer. What's up, YouTube? It's Big Ryan the Fat Guy. You're watching the NFL Week 17 Picks Against the Spread video. If you haven't already, show us some love and hit that subscribe button. Last week, Big Ryan the Fat Guy went 9-6 against the spread. Congratulations to Nebo23, Mickey, and 24. Cha-ching for going 12-3 against the spread in our weekly Pick'em contest. I especially want to give a big shout out to my boy, Mickey, 2 weeks in a row, on top, un fuego. Keep it rolling for the final 27 games of the season. If you want to compete in our weekly Against the Spread contest, you can enter Week 17 by following the link in the description box below. Fat Guy, our season total against the spread continues to grow. We're now 9 games above 500, 119, 110, and 10 against the spread. Good for 52%. Back to beating the juice at online books for the season. How'd you feel about Week 16?
Well, beating the juice against, depends what kind of juice. Like I said, this is maybe one of the worst seasons we've had, but it's still it's on the positive. Beating the average,
52% against the spread, picking every game. There's no shame in that.
I disagree, but that's okay. I set a high standard here for the Fat Guy. I mean, considering how sedentary my lifestyle is, I need to be good at least something where it involves just picking numbers on a board. So I set a high standard. But at least we're in the positive. And about this week, a little recap. Got a lot of detractors this week, a lot of them. Not going to name names, but they thought our total would be really low, and it wasn't. We did reasonably well. Baltimore Ravens game, they said there's no way that they could cover, there's no way that they could win. They didn't just cover, they did win. So I'm not gonna bring up all those comments, but they were a lot of them. You guys know who you are. So the only guy that gave us a little shout out was Jai Norman, said good solid picks. So I'm wearing my Carolina Panthers Steve Smith jersey, and not Steve Smith Sr. It doesn't say senior on the back. This is an OG jersey. You know, I went to bars a lot in my youth.
Yeah, that was before he was having sex.
Yes, exactly. And he was a celibate Steve Smith.
On to the NFL Week 17 picks against the spread. Fat Guy, let's start off with the Dallas Cowboys traveling to New York to take on the Giants. The Giants are 7-point favorites at home. Who you got?
Whoa, it's tough. I mean, New York Giants, they're out of it, clearly, obviously. And the Dallas Cowboys got it locked up. Made the playoffs. Nice work. Now, I'm not sure who's going to start. It's going to be a mix of 1s and 2s for Dallas.
Well, Jerry Jones came out saying that everybody's going to play.
That's good. That also means, though, that they could pull the plug pretty easy on some of these guys.
Yep.
However, though, are the New York Giants really 7 points better than a healthy dose of 1s and 2s? I'm not so sure. I mean, does Dallas really want to get blown out by the Giants? I don't know. These games, historically, don't really do that well. I mean, last year, I think the only week we lost that we made these videos was Week 16.
Yeah, it was our only week under 500 on the YouTube show.
Yeah, I mean, on the YouTube show. Yeah, so I do have trepidations about this week. I'm going to take Dallas. I don't love it, but I'm getting 7 points. 7 points in the Dallas Cowboys. Come on, let's roll with it.
Next up, the Carolina Panthers travel to New Orleans to take on the Saints. Saints are 5.5-point favorites at home. Fat Guy, who you got?
Well, I didn't wear a Carolina Panthers jersey for nothing. Oh yeah, you're going against the Saints again. I've been right against the Saints 4 weeks in a row. 4 weeks. I went against them 3 times, went on them once. 4 weeks in a row, we've been right on the Saints. And let's make it 5. Let's take the Carolina Panthers. Now, could the Saints absolutely smash the Carolina Panthers? Yes. I mean, the last time the Saints were in this position was, 2009? Now, I think they played the Bucs in the last game of the season. I'm not looking it up. I'm going to use the Fat Guy's Rolodex, which is usually, a solid 70% accurate. So I'm pretty sure that they beat the Bucs, or they lost to the Bucs, rather, at home, finishing the season 13-3 as a 1 seed, opposite of Indy, who they met in the Super Bowl. Like, people seem to draw a lot of correlation between this season and that. Completely different teams. Only player that's remaining, I'm pretty sure, is Drew Brees and head coach Sean Payton. But I do think they kind of took the foot off the pedal a little bit I got my idioms mixed up here. So it is possible that the Saints maybe not lose to the Panthers, but don't cover the 5.5-point spread. They could step on their throat, though. And don't forget, these Panthers are led by, it sounds like a Dutch light version of Heineken. Like a cross between Zima and Heineken. Tyler Heineke. Really, really tough for me to get it out this week. I think you've seen Christmas really takes it out of you or puts it in. So I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers. Every guy's playing for something. You got your resume, your game tape is your resume. So I'm going to take the Panthers and Tyler Heineke against a Saints team that maybe isn't as aroused, let's say, for the game. So give me the Panthers and give me the points. It's going to be tough, though.
Next up, the Atlanta Falcons travel to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. The game's even, so fat guy, who you like more, Atlanta, Tampa Bay?
Well, like I said, both out of it, but I like the Buccaneers. I actually like them. I feel like they've been fighting every game. They're bad. We know they're bad. Dirk Cutter, Mr. Magoo, not the greatest guy in the world. Mind you, Atlanta's play calling on offense has been weak, pretty weak. So Atlanta Falcons, they did manage to have a good performance against the Panthers, beating them. I mean, we ended up taking the Panthers before the Newton injury was fully explored, let's say. So I mean, it's a good win for the Falcons on the road. They're gonna have to do it again against division rival Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Julio Jones, I'm not sure how well he's gonna come out. I mean, his gait looked a little bit off. Wouldn't you say, Big Rye?
His gait definitely did look a little bit off.
Do you feel strong as an ox, or?
I'm having some trepidations about it.
Yeah. He doesn't know how to come up with his own sentences, so he has to steal mine. I guess you'll see him laughing here for the next half hour while I go with no water. Real dry mouth. Feel like I got salt in it. Anyways, I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Because like I said, Atlanta Falcons hurt Julio Jones. On the road, Buccaneers. I think the Bucs could pull out a reasonable performance. It's just not... It's possible. Let's go Tampa Bay Bucs, and I think they can win this game. They're at home, division. We can win this game. Tampa Bay Bucs.
It's always tough for the Giants to cover if it's not a backdoor cover. Next up, the Detroit Lions travel to Green Bay to take on the Packers. Packers are 7.5-point favorites at home. Fat guy, who you got?
Wow, he's slowed down for dramatic purposes. I'm going to take the Detroit Lions. It's 7.5 points, guys. It's 7.5 points. Shout out to the Packers. What an excellent comeback against the New York Jets. Bad teams, they find a way not to cover. I mean, even when they're winning. Excellent by Aaron Rodgers, but too little too late. They weren't in the playoff hunt, and they're not going to make the playoffs, but they did finish strong against the Jets. Now, I'm sure he wants to step on the throat of rival Detroit Lions, which 7.5 points is just a lot. I don't love this game. Believe me, I don't. But is it possible Lions lose by a touchdown or less? Absolutely. And the Lions, they pulled their own, screw-up act by letting Kyle Rudolph get some sort of Hail Mary. So, yeah, I'm going to be taking the Detroit Lions. Going to get 7.5 points. Yeah, they've looked terrible. Detroit's a bad team. But can they lose by a touchdown or less? Absolutely against Green Bay Packers. So let's roll with the dog. Let's make it easy. Lions and the points.
Next up, the Miami Dolphins travel to Buffalo to take on the Bills. The Bills are 3.5-point favorites at home. Fat guy, who you got?
To me, this is pretty easy. Miami Dolphins. Now, they managed to lose a game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I never say it right. Just forgive me. I'm completely ignorant. We'll go with that. So, I do think the Miami Dolphins, they seem to keep it tight against everyone, win or lose. I don't like Miami as a favorite ever, but I kind of like them as a dog. Miami Miracle against the New England Patriots, and I don't really remember them getting blown out. I mean, like I said, we're going Fat Guy Rolodex. It's usually about 70-ish% correct. The only game I can remember them getting blown out is one of the Patriots games, so I guess only 2 games, and the Houston Texans. And Texans, that was I think it was a Thursday nighter where they really plowed into those porpoises. So I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins because I like the 3.5 points. Can Josh Allen hurt them? Yeah, maybe only with his feet, though. His arm's a little bit erratic. And then Miami secondary, pretty reasonable. That defense is reasonable as a whole, I feel. Do I think Miami can have a reasonable performance to close out the year? Absolutely. 3.5 points, That's a good number. Miami loses by a field goal or a win even perhaps. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities. I like Miami a little bit more than I like the rest of these games. So give me the Dolphins and give me the 3.5 points.
Next up, the Jets travel to New England to take on the Patriots. The Patriots are 14-point favorites at home. Fat guy, who you got?
Easy one, Jets. Easy. The Jets, I can't believe they didn't cover, against the Green Bay Packers. I mean, not like aesthetically before the game, but while you're watching the game, you're like, how could they blow this? Oh, and they blew it. Although I will give a shout out to both Elijah McGuire and Robbie or Roby, however you say it, Anderson, the guy with the really sweet haircut and attitude, as well as respect for law enforcement. He managed to give Big Rye the big L in a fantasy final. So shout out to Miss Call Me Brogan and his Jets duo to close out the fantasy season, giving Big Rye second place. Regardless, I think the Jets at 14 points, that's reasonable. No team goes out and goes, oh yeah, I'm going to win by more than 14. They just want to win the game. That's highlighted by the cover by the Buffalo Bills just this weekend, where they lost by 12, 24-12 to the New England Patriots. Not pretty, but it's a cover. That means you would have won with Buffalo. Could this same thing happen with the Jets at a more than 50 likelihood? Come on, people. We've been doing this for a while. I think you're going to have to start agreeing with me. Jets and the points, 14. Are Patriots better than New York Jets? Yes. Are the Jets a bad team? Absolutely. Are the Patriots going to go out and try and win by more than 14? Not necessarily. The game is probably going to dictate that they'll win somewhere around 10 points, 12 points, 13, in that range. That would be my guess. Over 14 is a bit of a stretch. Give me the New York Jets and give me the 14 points. It's what you do. It's what you do.
Next up, Jacksonville traveling to Houston to take on the Texans. The Texans are 10-point favorites at home. Fat guy, who you got?
I've been bouncing on the Jags shaft for some time. And why get off the ride now? It's been bumpy at times. It hurts at others. Feels good at others. You get a full range of emotion with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I really felt that they were a Super Bowl contender. Their quarterback play has been, but something has been left to be desired. Their defense, some really bad performances. Particularly the Tennessee Titans game where Derrick Henry ran for I don't even know how many yards. But they've had some good ones, and I think they could have a good one here too. They're capable. They are capable. They came off a win against the Miami Dolphins. Not like a really slob knobber. I mean, it wasn't great, but they won on the road. Could they lose by 10 or less against the Houston Texans? Absolutely. It's a divisional game. They don't like the Texans. They don't like the Texans whatsoever. I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars because I get a lot of points. Now, I do understand that there are playoff implications with the Houston Texans. I do get that. However, though, I do think that the Jags can keep it competitive. And now people were ripping on me because I don't like Houston for any good reason. It's not I don't like Houston. Houston Texans, they've been a reasonable betting team for me for a couple of years here. The thing I don't like about them this year is there's so much hype surrounding them. And I mean, Watson has had a lot of success. I mean, in collegiate career as far as winning in the NFL as well. But there's just little things that bother me. I'll give him a lot of credit. He was able to come back in the game and put his team up with just a minute or two left against the Philadelphia Eagles. But part of it that was him, and part of that is just that ever terrible Philadelphia secondary that has been just awful since going back to last year. Look at the Super Bowl. How many would Tom Brady get? Like 500 yards? That secondary just stinks if you can stymie the pass rush. So, I mean, it's great, but it's not inconceivable. And now the defense, for how talented it is, they gave it up in short order to Nick Foles. I think he had 4 touchdowns, and he managed to rally at the end of the game. There's just something missing for me in the Houston Texans, and I really can't put my finger on it. I don't like referencing numbers necessarily, but I just think that they get a little bit tired near the end of the game, perhaps on defense. And offense, it really revolves around DeAndre Hopkins. So I think when you're going to play some of the stronger teams, it's going to be more difficult to key in on the other guys. And Hopkins is always going to get doubled. Not that that'll work though. By the way, Hopkins is so good that might not even work. But there's just something about the Houston Texans that I don't know how much success they're going to have going into the playoffs. So I mean, going long on this one. It's not that I hate the Texans, but I just think 10 points. Jags, who I really think on paper, they have a lot of talent. Give me the Jacksonville Jags, even though they could get blown out, but 10 points is just a large number.
Next up, the Indianapolis Colts travel to Tennessee to take on the Titans. The Titans are 2-point underdogs at home with playoff implications on the line. Fat guy, who you got?
Taking the Titans. I mean, quarterback play is going to be an issue here. I'm not sure the health of Mariota. I can't specify it this early. It is Sunday night, so we could end up having a good old Blaine Gabbert slanging them, right? I mean, and that kind of looks like more or less that's probably what's going to be happening with the line opening Indy -2. But I'm still going to go with the Tennessee Titans. This is going to be the game of the week to watch. Let's be real. It's win or go home. I love that's great. This is when the scheduling of division rivals works out for the NFL. Didn't work out that well this year, but this is the game to watch for sure. Titans didn't have the greatest performance against the Washington Redskins. I mean, I had them covering 10-point spread, but as usual, I kicked myself for laying that many points. I mean, the 9 points wasn't indicative of the game. It was a pick six to end the game. But I think Malcolm Butler. But the Tennessee Titans have good defense. Colts, excellent rally against the Giants. Giants found a way not to win, as usual. Colts didn't cover ever. Yeah, look at me getting tongue twister. I need a big glass of water to fix this tongue up. Anyways, I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans, and let's see if Derrick Henry can run on them. That's going to be the big one. So it's going to be more of like a heavyweight tilt of young men between Darius Leonard and Derrick Henry. Whoever wins that battle, I think, is going to pull ahead for their team. So Henry's been a bat out of hell lately. So give me the Titans, give me Derrick Henry, and maybe a pick or two from the secondary if that's even possible. Hilton's been a little bit hot, but I like the Tennessee Titans, and I like them to go to the playoffs. And I think I mentioned earlier, if you bet them before the Redskins game, 87-1 on them to win the Super Bowl. I don't think that's going to happen, but there's some value on that line for sure. We'll see if it's come down since then, probably maybe because they did win. But I do like the Tennessee Titans in this game, and this is going to be a good one. I'm just going to like it. I'm just going to enjoy it regardless of what happens.
Next up, let's move on to the later games, 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll start off with Philly traveling to Washington to take on the Redskins. The Redskins are 7-point underdogs at home. Fat guy, who you got?
Tough, but we're gonna go with the Redskins. I'm just taking points. It feels like every game. I don't think I've been taking a favorite yet. And we're gonna go with the Washington Redskins. And the Arena League football wonder, Josh Johnson, playing kind of reasonably well. These Redskins are fighters. This is the most injured team I can remember. This year, at least, for sure. We can all agree on that. No Alex Smith, no Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy, who I felt is a reasonable backup. Injuries all over the offensive line. Not as many injuries on defense. Washington still has a good defense, and we all know this. It's undeniable. Redskins have a strong defense. I do like the Washington Redskins because I'm getting 7 points at home. It's as simple as that. I mean, I get that Philadelphia is going to do everything to win the game. But you really think the Washington Redskins are just going to roll over and take it? I don't. Could they get blown with the Eagles? Absolutely. But I get 7 points at home in a team that I know doesn't want to lose. I know. Look how emotional Josh Norman was at the end of the game against the Tennessee Titans. You really think they're not bringing that heat into this game? They're just going to roll over? I don't think so. I mean, could they get blown out? Sure. Could they win this game? Absolutely. I like the Washington Redskins because I get 7 points. It's as simple as that. I think they got fighting them. I was a Redskins believer, and it's been tough because of it. It really has. I hate blaming stuff on injuries. I hate it. But it's just been undeniable with this Redskins game. But they have resilience. Give me the Washington Redskins and give me the 7 points.
Next up, the Chicago Bears travel to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. The Vikings are 6.5-point favorites at home. Fat guy, who you got?
I think the Vikings have been playing pretty well lately. They got a little jump start here from firing offensive coordinator. It really helped. I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm going to lay the points. Yeah, here we go. I haven't laid any points yet. Now I am. So I'm gonna do it now. Nothing against the Bears. Bears locked up first place. Good for them. Chicago Bears, they didn't look that good against the 49ers. 49ers finally had like a really good defensive performance, I felt.
Yep.
Pretty decent here from the good old 49ers. Robert Saleh kind of pulling it together. Regardless, we're talking about the Bears and we're talking about the Vikings. Bitter rivals. Vikings want to win this game. Incentive's the same, though. The Bears don't want them to win this game. But I do think in this spot, it's a revenge game for the Minnesota Vikings. I don't feel bad about laying the points. I just think that they're humming and they're playing pretty well. And I think they're going to be able to stop Chicago on offense, to be perfectly honest. Said perfectly honest if anyone's counting. So I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings and I'm going to lay the 6.5 points.
Next up, the San Francisco 49ers travel to LA to take on the Rams. The Rams are 9.5-point favorites at home. Fact guy, who you got?
How can I go against the 49ers 9.5 points? These spreads are huge, guys. They're huge. And, is it possible that the Rams take the foot off the gas? Absolutely. Do I think so? No. I don't think that's Coach McVay's style. But he has yet to be in this position, so we're going to have to see. They did rest Todd Gurley. And C.J. Anderson had a big game. Signed on Monday.
Yeah, like 160 yards.
Start on Sunday. Right on. He looked a little bit round in the waistband, let's say.
He had an excellent quote after the game talking about having more yards after contact than Gurley over the entire season in a game. And C.J. Anderson replied saying, well, Gurley's the greatest of all time, and I'm fat and slow. So I have to do it after contact.
Did he really say that?
Yeah.
All right, that just cool meter on C.J. Anderson just went. He's a live streamer, plays a lot of video games. I'm assuming he eats a lot of peanut M&Ms like me, and not those peanut butter M&Ms. That never worked out. I'm going to take the San Francisco 49ers defense. Look like they're coming around. Nick Mullins. I didn't like that weird Hail Mary out of bounds attempt. I felt like he had better chance running for those 4 yards to get the first down in the game. I know I'm singling out one weird play in a long game of ups and downs, and more downs than ups for Nick Mullins. But has he had some good performances? Absolutely. This Rams defense, a little bit tough. I'm gonna be honest. Gonna have to use a little bit of trickery. But can Shanahan use some trickery? Absolutely. Can he keep this close? Yeah. 9.5 points is a lot, and I want to see, we have to draw some sort of positive from this season for the 49ers. So what I want to see is a reasonable offensive performance. It doesn't have to be good. And I want to see good defense. I want to see him slow down the Rams, perhaps. This is a battle of young coaching wonderkids, one with immediate success and one not so. So Shanahan, let's do it a little bit better. Let's give me the 49ers. Let's give me the points on the road. San Francisco 49ers plus 9.5.
Next up, the Arizona Cardinals travel to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. The Seahawks are 11-point favorites at home. Fat guy, who you got?
Worst coach. Well, one of the worst coach teams. I bury coaches. I'm just so brutal with them. Steve Wilkos. We all know he's getting fired. I've never used his name properly, and that's for a reason. He's a cartoon. He's not very good. However, though, 11 points is a lot. Seahawks, awesome win. Beat the Chiefs. Pick them to do so, but that's neither here nor there. They get the credit, not me just circling on a dirty bar napkin. I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals simply because I get 11 points. I mean, they don't want to lose. They don't. Do they want a good performance? Absolutely. And it's kind of highlighted by that little trick play they pulled with Larry Fitzgerald throwing, I believe, his first touchdown pass. Pretty cool by the Cardinals. Just shows us some sort of resilience there. They don't want to lose to the Seahawks. I mean, they are going to lose, but can they keep it closer than 11? I think that's more or less what is probably more than average going to happen. Probably going to cover more than average. Are Arizona Cardinals the worst team in the league? Probably. We're all in agreement. They probably are. But 11 points is a lot for the Seahawks to cover. And I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to take the points, and I'm never happy about it.
Here's a game you will like. The Cincinnati Bengals travel to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. The Steelers are 16.5-point favorites at home. Fat guy, who you got?
Oh, easy. Cincinnati Bengals. 16.5? Come on, guys. Come on. Steelers have to win by 17? That's just crazy. They don't go in there the game going, Mike Tomlin yelling in the locker room, all right, that wins by 17. They don't do that. That was like really bad impression. Neither here nor there. I got to point this out. I might have even said this earlier. Steelers got jobbed. Those 2 pass interference calls, the first one to set up the touchdown by the Saints, Joe Hayden didn't touch Alvin Kamara. That was brutal. That was one of the worst calls. I hate bringing up referee stuff because it's annoying. It's something that a lot of people do. A lot of people make excuses. But that was the worst pass interference call I've ever seen. There's maybe one close one where the Browns against the Patriots. Anyways, neither here nor there. That was terrible. And the one closing out the game was pass interference, except the ball was tipped. It was tipped. It just barely skimmed the arm. Barely. They got jobbed. The Steelers were the better team in the Saints-Steelers game. That's what I really feel. Now, do I think that they're going to win by 17 or more? Probably not. Do I think they're going to win this game? Absolutely. So I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals. Because winning by 17, that's just, I don't know. I don't have the numbers in front of me historically. 16.5-point underdogs or more have to be doing better than the favorites. They just have to be. The last time I can remember spreads like this huge, there's a huge one in the 20s with, the Bucs and the Seahawks, and the Seahawks managed to cover. And the other one was Jaguars at Denver, and that was when Peyton Manning was playing, and the Jags were leading at half and ended up covering. I mean, those were like in the 20s, but this falls under the same category because of how enormous it is. Anytime there's someone who's a 16.5-point underdog, you just have to take them. Actually, Arizona was a huge underdog this big. Against Kansas City this year. And I believe Arizona covered. I mean, these are really small samples, so you can't go off them as gospel. But 16.5-point underdogs. This is a no-brainer. Take the Cincinnati Bengals and root for a terrible team.
Next up, the Cleveland Browns travel to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. The Ravens are 5-point favorites at home. Both teams go into this with nice winning streaks.
Yeah, Ravens are, they were 3.5 games back or whatever it was.
3.5 games back of the Steelers in Week 11, and now they're half a game in front.
It's unbelievable.
In control of their own destiny to win the division.
This is so apropos. The Steelers' playoff hopes hinge on the Cleveland Browns win on the road. I like it. I like it. It just, Cleveland is just so little relevance, the past, I don't know how many years when it comes at this time of year. They just, hope is lost, it's destitute, future is muddied, crystal ball, you can't see in the future. But the Browns, let's be honest, Browns look good. Browns have been looking good. Win streak for the Browns. Win streak and Browns are two things that don't go in the same sentence. But there's optimism. There is optimism. Mayfield on fuego against the Bengals. And then another thing too, Bengals hire Hugh Jackson and then they get roasted by the Browns twice. I love it.
Do you know that the Browns have the same amount of wins against Hugh Jackson as they had with Hugh Jackson over the past 2.5 seasons?
Yeah, they only played him twice. I love that. That's just whew. I like it. Anyways, I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns here. I get 5 points. I know that they're going to go down fighting. I really do. They don't like the Ravens. There's no way. Because the Ravens are the real Browns. That's where the Browns moved from in 94. I'm going really, it's not like anyone's going to bring up this, revisionist history, whatever. But I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns because I like the 5 points. And I think Cleveland's been playing some really good football. Now, so have the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens defense in particular, and a lot of strong rushing by the Ravens. But I think Cleveland's defense is going to be able to keep it close. Cleveland historically can keep games close, and I like this coaching staff. They come with some fire. They never had an intention of making the playoffs. They didn't. Yeah, their playoff hopes were dashed, whatever. They just came and fought hard every game, and I expect the exact same this weekend. Give me my Browns and give me the points. Let's go Cleveland.
Next up, the LA Chargers travel to Denver to take on the Broncos. The Broncos are 4.5-point underdogs at home. Fat guy, who you got?
We're going to go with the Denver Broncos here. 4.5 points at home. I mean, it's a revenge game. They won on the road in LA. So, is it possible? Yes, they should have no business winning that game on the road in LA. Absolutely no business. Do they have some business winning this game at home against the Chargers? Absolutely. Are they going to give up? Do you think Von Miller's going to roll over for these Chargers? There's no way. There's no way. I do think the Chargers are a better team. That being said, they had a woeful performance against the Baltimore Ravens. Denver's just a tough place to play. I really do. When you're getting points at home in Denver, hard for me to go against them. I think Denver defense is going to be strong. They're going to be stout. They're going to get after Rivers, who really is a statue back there. If he doesn't get the ball out with his weird throwing motion, he's in trouble. And I think that this could be trouble for him with Von Miller and newly minted rookie Bradley Chubb coming off the edge. I mean, I'm gonna have to go with the Denver Broncos, plain and simple. So give me the Broncos and give me the points.
And the final game for the 2018 NFL season, Oakland Raiders travel to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Chiefs are 13.5-point favorites at home. Fat guy, who you got?
We're gonna go with the Oakland Raiders. I mean, God, I have to pick every game. You guys make me pick every game. Raiders suck. We're agreeing. Raiders traded all their players away in addition to sucking. Playing the mighty Chiefs, who've been floundering as of late. So, I mean, I wish this Chiefs line was just lower though. 13.5. Chiefs are an exciting, great team to watch. I mean, they have to win this game to win the division. They have to win this game. However, though, do they have to win by 14? Not necessarily. The Raiders could go out with a whimper, though. I keep saying this team's going to fight, this team's going to fight. I'm not as confident the Raiders are going to fight. I can see this team going out with a big, big whimper. The Cardinals, too, but I just can't. 13.5 points. I know better. When I didn't take the Raiders with the double-digit dogs, and that was at home against the Steelers, I regretted it. I won't regret it if the Raiders get blown out, because I can't in good conscience lay 13.5 points ever. It just doesn't make me feel good. I know it. The math on it doesn't make sense. Give me the Raiders and give me the points, as much as I really don't like it. I just don't, but give me the Raiders and the points.
All right, fat guy, lightning round. Dallas at New York Giants.
Give me the Cowboys.
Carolina at New Orleans.
Carolina Panthers.
Atlanta at Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay Bucks.
Detroit at Green Bay.
Detroit Lions.
Miami at Buffalo.
Miami Dolphins.
The New York Jets at New England.
Jets and the points.
Jacksonville at Houston.
Saxonville Jaguars.
Indianapolis at Tennessee.
Tennessee Titans.
Philadelphia at Washington.
Redskins.
Chicago at Minnesota.
Minnesota Vikings.
San Francisco at the LA Rams.
Give me the Niners.
Arizona at Seattle.
Arizona Cardinals.
Cincinnati at Pittsburgh.
Cincinnati. Wow.
Cleveland at Baltimore.
Cleveland Browns.
The Chargers at Denver.
Denver Broncos.
And Oakland at Kansas City.
Out with a whimper, Oakland Raiders.
Bronies, that's it for us. Good luck with your NFL Week 17 picks against the spread, and subscribe for more Big Rye and the Fat Guy. Fat Guy, sorry I cut you off earlier. You were in the middle of ranking your top 5 Oprah episodes.
Oprah, yeah, being into it. Actually, that Million Little Pieces episode was kind of funny, because they brought him on, and he completely lied about his book, and then they got to bring him on again to apologize. They stretched 2 episodes. Now, it feels like a little bit of corporate sabotagery. Like they lied to the audience on purpose just so they could win them back with an apology. I bet you they knew beforehand. I really bet you they did. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with that one. That one, Million Little Pieces.
The real question is, does that crack the top 5?
Of course it does. Of course it does. I mean, he's not jumping on a couch or anything. But I'm gonna go with the Million Little Pieces one. That's definitely my favorite.